Hello everybody, welcome to this week's race guide. This is more like just some race commentary on a pretty fun race I had in Daily Race B using the Ferrari against the Audis. So it seems that the Audis are the best car to use for this track combination, but I'm trying to get more and more used to the Ferrari so that I can get quick in it for other races. So definitely MR cars, mid-engine cars, work best for this track, but you need to find one that has good top speed. So even though the Ferrari doesn't necessarily have the handling of the Audi, it does have decent top speed and can stand the slipstream. So here I'm against DIN 1307 and CGT Durban. CGT beat me in the previous race after I made a mistake into turn 1, so I had to have another go almost immediately and just try and get one over. Here I'm going in the slipstream and I kind of misjudged the braking point, and this is a compromise overtaking maneuver. I go down the inside, he does touch me, Aldin. I didn't mean for that, but I suppose yeah, when you misjudge the braking zone, you've got to make the most of it. I did put on my hazards to say sorry. This track combination and car combination, I think it's been overdone in Gran Turismo Sport, but what the hell, let's give it a go. I have a race coming up, so I needed to work a little bit on my racecraft, and this sort of did help me. So at the moment I'm pulling away from the guys behind me, and I think to myself, oh wow, this well, nothing's ever easy when you're racing against the Audi brigade, but I thought to myself, okay, maybe I actually have a chance here, because I knew that in the first race against these guys, I was just kind of hanging on for dear life, and my mistake into turn 1 was a little bit inevitable. Yeah, okay, so they're fighting behind me. The gap is pretty much, it's almost at a second. I just wanted to break the slipstream, which I kind of managed to do. After that overtaking maneuver, there was a bit of a fight between them. So here I'm trying to break the slipstream again, running against the wall, going to the outside, and I brake a bit too late into turn 1. Actually very late, go all the way down to first gear to try and save it. And instead of cutting back, I try and let Din past. All things considered, I was a bit too aggressive into turn 2 on the first lap. So status quo returns. He's now back in the lead. He's trying to break my slipstream. I figure I don't want to do another banzai. Let me just try and make this corner without crashing into him. So set it up around the outside and try and square off, going up to turn whatever. I don't know the names of these corners. We're side by side now. I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to be on the outside of this corner? It's never going to work out. He's going to push me wide. We touch a little bit. That was quite fun. But I do manage to sneak on the inside here, and respectfully, he gives me the space I need to pull off a clean move. So that was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that we had that little bit of a ding-dong battle. In the end, Din made a small mistake there on the curb, and ran a bit wide, so I got a little bit of a gap, and now I just wanted to maintain it and stop missing the apex at turn 1. The reason why I keep missing it is there's not real clear braking point there, so it's a lot of it is on feel, unless I'm missing something more obvious. Please leave it in the comments if you think so. But yeah, I seem to be making mistakes there today. The thing with this track is, and a little strategy that you can play on, is that if you're not in an MR car, mid-engined, rear-wheel drive, just know that these cars are very difficult to handle going into corners. So they're very snappy, the rear tends to slide a lot, and if you're in a front-engine car and you can provoke the mid-engine car into a mistake, you'll have an advantage throughout the race. So it's not necessarily about the pace, although that is important in these 5-lappers, but it's also about like forcing your opponent into a mistake. And if you can get close enough to the Audi driver through slipstream or whatever else, just see if you can move around a little bit under braking in the rearview mirror, because once you commit to braking in these cars, you're committed until the apex. There's not much you can do. You can't really move around without spinning the car. Well, not spinning the car, but catching a lot of slide. Just generally, these cars move around. They pivot from their center point, which makes them snappy. We all know this, and I'm looking forward to doing a video soon about the difference between a 458 in real life versus the 458 in the game. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to get Tijni to help me. He's going to do the virtual lap, and then I'm going to show you the real life lap. in a 458, not in the 488. Okay, so let's talk about this lap itself. One of the quirks of Gran Turismo Sport is you don't have to always use the entire track. If you run tighter lines, you find a few hundredths of a second. It doesn't really work in real life. So here, staying quite tight, going up against the wall, minimizing track distance is key in this game. Then rolling out just before the 50-meter board, you're braking. You want to get on that apex curb. I missed it there. Short shift to third, and then use the curb here on the inside to rotate the car around this long left-hander. Super important to get a good run out onto the straight, otherwise you're going to bleed lap time, and frankly it's just not ideal. Okay, then braking here at 100 meters. If you're in an MR car like the Audi or the Ferrari, gear down as late as possible. Brake in as straight a line as possible, and then gear down as late as possible. These cars don't like a sort of a certain amount of attitude in the car when you're approaching a corner. You gotta keep them as flat as possible. Roll into this corner here. Again, you want to use more of that curb if you can, and then through here, just be patient. Let the car roll down the hill, and then get on the power at the apex and maximize the exit. You can use a lot of curb there. Just be careful. Make sure you're in a straight line. Again here, roll into the corner, no power, no brakes, and then once you're at the apex, start to progressively get on the power. Small lift here through the left-hander, maximize the exit curb, and then brake earlier than you think for this left-hand onto the back, going onto the main straight. Or it's not a straight, is it? It's just a very long left-hander. Stay tight the whole way through. Minimize track distance. Okay, you can stay tighter than this even. And then again, ride all the way up against the white line, up against the wall to get good lap time, and then bring it over for the next lap. Okay, braking at the 50. Let's see if I get the apex this time. Again, not exactly where I want it to be. You want to be on that apex curb. Small lift through the right, and then full gas through the left, provided you're getting on the power early. So that's turn 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the next one is turn 4. Brake at the 100. Watch out for the rear of the car. Okay, so brake late, but be very patient. No power and no braking while you're going through the apex. That is the key to this track. This is a flowing track. It's almost like karting. In karting, the longer you flow, the longer you're off the power and off the brakes, the faster you can technically be, because that means you have the ability to carry speed. Okay, again here, I do manage to maximize the corner there, rolling in, and then just falling down the hill, wait for the apex, get on the power, so when you're pointed in a straight line, maximize the curb. And the same situation here. You can use more curb than that. Just always be careful with these MR cars. They're going to snap on you if you take a bit too much. So you got to get used to which curbs you can maximize and which curbs you cannot maximize. This corner here always seems to catch me out. I always seem to spend too long off the power, and when I try to get on the power earlier, I get snap oversteer, which compromises my run. So in the end, I managed to win this race by just over 2 seconds, I believe. But that was just because the guys behind me were fighting. I managed to break away from that and win the race relatively comfortably. But the first 2 laps were epic, thanks to the guys in the race who were making it a lot of fun. Cool, I hope you found that useful, and I'll catch you around the next lap. Peace.